How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Fourever Arsenal podcast. We're all back in the building. It's a Sunday night, the day after, or the night after an Arsenal win. 4-0 against Bournemouth. And me, Jordan, Lee, and James are back to discuss it yet again and give a little preview for the Lonzo away fixture as well, our second Champions League tie in the group stages. But yeah, 4-0, convincing win, probably the most convincing win of the season, especially in the Premier League for sure.
Absolutely. You were there, Lee?
Yes. Fantastic. Do you know what I'm going to say? If you've never been to Bournemouth before,
did you start the Kai Havertz chant?
No. I don't really someone had to explain it. You know what I mean? I had a few beers, I must admit, but someone had to explain it.
It's not that good. It's not that good.
Well, I think it's disrespectful, isn't it? But I didn't get it at first. You know what I mean? 60 million down the drain. Kai Havertz scores again.
It's tongue in cheek, isn't it?
Yeah. I get when someone explained me, but I thought it was a little bit. I like it. I like the energy that it gave. The actual fans singing it, because we was opposite to where they were, away fans. Because normally you're in on it, and it was a privilege to watch the Arsenal fans at times. You know, the energy that they bring with the songs and their support is fantastic. So no, I didn't make that one up. I'll start it off so whoever did, quality to them, But listen, if you ever get an experience to go to Bournemouth, I can only explain it. It's watching a professional football game at a stadium where you're so close to seeing it. You just see it so differently. You're up close and personal to the players and all that. It's a wonderful experience. And
wasn't you in the hospitality? Wasn't you in the VIP?
I was in hospitality, yes, Sir John.
They're very close to the pitch then, yeah?
Yeah, very actually allowed on the pitch at the beginning. Can you believe that?
So to rephrase, if you ever get the opportunity to be VIP pitch side, sat next to the coach, and in the players changing room, you get quite an experience.
It is. I tell you what, Bournemouth. Can I just please explain? I'll explain it what it's like with Bournemouth hospitality. The people that we were going to give them a big up, B&H Air Conditioning, because they sponsored the game, so they was the main sponsors of the game, So what you do is you go down on pitch side because you're the main sponsor, and you get to meet a player before the game. So I met Alex Scott, not the lady Alex Scott, the Alex Scott signed from Bristol City for 25 million. So, and you're on the pitch, my shoes, I haven't cleaned in my shoes. They're a Premier League. I've got Premier League mud on them, So you get to do all of that.
I was joking. I was joking when I said
no.
You actually tried to tell us that if we ever get the chance.
Yeah, no, I was lucky. I'm very, very fortunate. And as I say, thanks to B&H Air Conditioning.
How many more plugs? It's got more plugs than
no more plugs. All right,
no,
they do air conditioning, not plugs. Nothing to do with electric. You know what I mean? It's air conditioning. So anyway, yeah. So you get to meet the player. Then you go up into the back into the restaurant. Then Dan Gosling, who's the next player, comes up and everything like that. And he has a chat and talks about things. And the unbelievable thing at the end of the game, the guys on our table choose the man of the match. And the man of the match comes up and does a presentation and all that, 10 minutes after the game. So he's lost 4-0, he's gutted. And he's there talking away and everything like that. It's an unbelievable experience because it's not as a bigger club as Arsenal, of course, but it's got this family club atmosphere to it, And so when Aaron Ramsdale was there, he would have to be doing these duties if he got man of the match and things like that, you know what I mean? It was an incredible experience. And, then you go and sit and watch the game and watch Arsenal win 4-0 was fantastic as well. But, yeah, fantastic experience.
I'll tell you what you should all do, That sounds good. But if you get the chance, right? Honestly, you should all do this. Dinner at the White House.
We would have got that. It would have got there if we'd have said we was down there, you know what I mean? You go, and another great thing, you go in with the players. You know what I mean? The players go in and they go left, and you go upstairs. So you can walk in with the players. You know what I mean? I was mixing with all the players. It was.
I mean, with all respect, it's Bournemouth. We're not mixing with Maldini and bloody R9. I'm joking.
It's just, you know what I mean? Like, because you've had an interview with Simon Jordan and this, you know what I mean? Like, you're thinking, like, you have to give me things, you know what I mean? Like, you know, there's me giving you compliments about that, and you're having things at me.
I'm just saying. I'm just joking.
But great experience, and
big up H&B,
but B and H, you have to score everything.
B and H. Sorry.
Oh, enough about you, Lee. What about the game?
I thought it was a great game, guy. I thought that's the best we've played. I really do think that. I think that I'm going to say now. That was Kai Havertz's best game. Forget about the penalty. I thought he played really, really well. Eddie as well. I thought Eddie really justified his position up front in that game. As I said last week, I think away from home suits him. I thought he played really, really well. Declan Rice was magnificent. I have to say that. I have to say, watching Declan Rice, I felt that he was in third gear and just absolutely dominating a game of football. It was good to see him there. Like, the only disappointment was Saka getting injured again. He does take some sticks, Saka. I have to say that. Like, you know, Trossard was on the bench, didn't come on, so he's near. So I thought all around, you know, and to be honest, you know, we never looked in danger. Every time that they did look like they was coming forward, Gabriel and Saliba just snuffed them out. I thought them two were brilliant without physically being pushed, if you know what I mean, like, you know, just covering the ground, reading the situations. I have to say, I thought it was a really, really good performance. I have to say that. David Raya, nothing to do. What he did, he done really, really well. We looked comfortable. One thing I did notice with him, I don't know if it was because it was different teams or whatever, every time he got the ball, they never pressed him. I don't know if it was because they feared that if we did press him, that we could work it round or whatever. I don't know. Like, you know, it was one of their game plans not to go and press the goalkeeper. But I thought it was a really, really good performance on the back of the game against Brentford. And listen, guys, you know what I mean? Let's be really honest about it. When I got the news from Wolverhampton, what had happened, like, you know, that is an extra bonus for that game, because I never thought that we'd be going into next week's game 1 point behind them. So really, apart from what the joke at White Hart Lane, or the Tottenham Stadium as they call it now, like, you know, it would have been the perfect weekend for us, really, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but you can see, even in that result, you can still find the positive.
Yeah, I agree. Good point.
We'll talk about that in a sec, because there was controversial things, to say the least. But yeah, I mean, obviously Jordan, I don't think it wasn't televised anywhere. Was it?
I don't think it was. Not in the UK.
No, 3 o'clock kickoff, wasn't it?
So yeah, from what you've seen of the game,
you watch Match of the Day, guys.
I did actually. I did, but first time in a long time. Yeah, as Lee says, comfortable. If I'm not mistaken, sorry, James may know this. Our last 2 visits to Bournemouth have been comfortable. Yeah, the last 2 seasons, were they down the year before?
3-0. Yeah, that's the first season back.
Yeah.
Well, the last 2 times we've been to Bournemouth, it's been really comfortable. We seem to like it there. And they seem to just play into our hands and never learn their lessons. But really cool. Good performance. No dirty sheets. I'm for that. Love that. It's fascinating how away from home we're so comfortable. We're so assured. We're so defensively solid. I love it. So to get a clean sheet, get 4 goals on the board is a massive plus. I don't think Saka was fully fit going into the game. We discussed in the last pod, but I'm glad that he played. You could argue we could have won that game without him, but I think, as Lee says, considering Man City dropped points and lost their game, it was essential we won that game. So I'm glad that even if Saka was only 80% fit, that he did play the game. I think he came off in the second half, didn't he? From vague memory.
Yeah,
he took a knock. Yeah, but I'm wondering if Arteta is playing Saka at times not fully fit because he's trying to harden him up. He made some comments about a year or 2 ago about Saka needing to learn how to be an elite player. And I think he compared him to the Ronaldos and the Messis who play 100+ games or whatever as a season. He was saying something about if Saka wants to be in that bracket, he's got to play every game. He's got to play through the knocks. He's got to play when he's being kicked. I just wonder if he's doing it to kind of trying to prove a point that actually I'm trying to make you that guy that is hardened to all the possible knocks and kicks that he gets. But anyway, I'm glad that he played because he was definitely effective in that match. Eddie Nketiah played really well, I thought. Again, industrious, won the penalty. Big up Eddie for that as well. I just want to say though, I'm not liking this rotation penalty thing. I'm not a fan of the rotating. I just don't. A, I'm not a big fan of it, and B, I didn't like that they gave it to Kai Havertz. I'm a bit conflicted with the Kai Havertz one. I know it was nice for him to get a goal. I know his record from the penalty spot is very, very strong. But at that point, it was only 2-0. And I think to Turkish's rant last week about being ruthless and being a club that doesn't put, pussyfoot around and isn't kind, I just think to myself, at 2-0 away from home, we were in full control. But one goal from Bournemouth at 2-0, if we miss a penalty, and it's game on. And I just would have preferred to score the third. We scored the penalty in the end, no problem. But I just think in that scenario, let Saka take it, score the third, and then you can fanny around. Then give Kai Havertz penalty. Then do you know what I mean? Win the game first, secure the 3 points, and then be nice.
I would normally agree, Jordan. Sorry to cut you. I would normally agree. Only the reason I had no problem with this is because Havertz is actually a very good penalty taker.
He is.
And I think the only reason he's not taking them for us is because Saka has proven to be a reliable-ish, first choice, and Ødegaard has bagged one as well. So it kind of puts him down the pecking order. But I believe we had on the watch along, we had Frank. I think the stat was Turkish remember better, but is it something like 16 and 17 he scored, and the only one he missed was in an international friendly?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
so,
17 or 18. That was 8.
Well, okay, there you go. So his record's pretty outstanding.
But he's still third choice, and at 2-0, why would you risk records? Oh,
fantastic!
Wow, bloody! I don't know what's going on. Sorry.
No, the internet's doing us all. Mine's been doing things anyway.
So, I was going to say, why would you risk, albeit with a very good record, your third choice taker? Not just give it to your best taker and secure the points.
He might be our best taker, Like I'm just playing devil's advocate a little bit.
I know. He might be, but I just think in that scenario, according to ranking, he's not ahead of Ødegaard and Saka. So I was a bit. I got the benefits of letting him score a goal. I understand that, but I just thought at that point, secure the points. I beg, secure the points first, and then we can be nicey and share it around. Anyway, that was my thoughts.
Yeah, fair.
James, we watched it together, but yeah, you said Havertz. Maybe more tongue-in-cheek when the penalty was given, and yeah, eventually he took it. But how do you feel about? Listen, you know what? I'll give my opinion first, because in that rant you talked about, Jordan, I think I mentioned a lot of performative actions that I've seen, in recent Arsenal history, and I do feel there's a bit of that in this, albeit I understand that it can be a confidence boost, and I do hope it's a confidence boost. But I just worry that with Havertz, it hasn't been a case of he's in the right places and he's been unlucky and he's been on the end of things and the keepers have made great saves or he's hit the cross. I don't know if a goal can turn around the form that we've seen. So, but that's another story. Post game, obviously a lot's been made about the Havertz thing, and it's been glorified and it's been focused on a lot. And I think even Havertz in his celebration, there was a bit of a. Even with the fist pump, it wasn't really like he really went for it. It was like
I agree.
It was a reserved celebration where maybe even he knew, I'm getting this because I'm
glad.
It's like
glad his celebration. I'm glad his celebration was quite awkward and muted and whatever, because there was a real kind of self-awareness about the celebration. Maybe I'm reading too much into it.
You're right.
I like that.
I would have been the first to flip if he went, knee slide and, put his arms out and pointed at his shirt. I would have been, listen, this guy's lost the plot. So
I will say though, surely that's a big confidence, but surely that's a big confidence booster because one, you got the players backing you, the manager's obviously backing you, and also the fans. I thought the fans were fantastic towards him. Like, you know what I mean? Like they've not turned on him. They've really backed him and all that. So he's got everything in his favour where maybe at Chelsea it wasn't so much like that. But at Arsenal, he's got, they sung that song for ages, and they didn't stop singing it until all the players had left the pitch. You know what I mean? That must do. You must be thinking like, well, the fans have got me. They've got my back here. I know I'm not really producing my best at the moment, but what a platform for him now to go on and show his stuff, because you've got like a magnificent fan base backing you. The manager's backing you, no two ways about it. And whether you look at it like, it was a fantastic thing Alan Shearer, said on Match of the Day yesterday. There's no way he would have given it to anybody, do you know what I mean? Like, there's that ruthless, but somebody give up the chance for a Premier League goal for that player. So it's a big, I think, a big statement in some ways that yesterday. And I don't know if you noticed it, but he grew in confidence after that as well, with the way he played.
Thought he had an all right game.
Was it Jesus that wanted it? And I think Odegaard talked to him, or?
I don't really know what happened to it. I don't really know how it come about.
I don't want to see that again. I mean, you've been nice on this occasion. I went to Bournemouth.
Yeah, that's one and only time.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, I just think, like I said, I get the level of trying to get a team make some confidence. Well, yeah, but also if I'm Saka or Odegaard, I want to, as a fan, see my players be a bit ruthless. No, I want to get 20 goals this season. I want to be the guy that secures the points.
Exactly.
Do
you know what I mean?
All I'll say is I'm dreading Lon's away when Saka goes down in the penalty area and they go, guys, Ramsdale needs a goal. He really needs this. He could really do with one. Up he steps. No one in there. Oh, we're 1-0 down.
But do you remember Arsenal done this with? Do you remember they'd done a thing where if someone got fouled, they wouldn't have the penalty? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was ridiculous, wasn't it? Like, I hear what Jordan's saying. I think maybe we've got to be a little bit more ruthless. But
even without the Havertz thing, there's been rotation on penalties anyway. So
don't like it.
What do you think it's about, though? 2 for Saka, 2 for Odegaard. Someone said both Saka was home penalties and both Odegaard away, but I haven't fact checked that.
I heard a theory that someone said that just by mixing up your takers, you just keep the opposition on their toes and the goalkeeper on their toes. So what the goalkeeper can, because they plan and prepare for takers, don't they? They do that meticulously now. Yeah. So if the goalkeeper doesn't know, is it Havertz, is it Saka, or is it Odegaard? You kind of keep them guessing a little bit. And also what I noticed happened as well was with the Odegaard penalty, I think it was, Saka took the ball. He took the ball, or maybe the other way around. And Saka took the ball.
Saka had the ball. Yeah.
He had the ball, and then what was happening then is a theory I heard was that what happens is the opposition do the whole fanning around, try and distract you, get into your head, and then Saka's taken all of that. When they've all cleared, in you go, Odegaard. So he's not involved in the distraction because they think it's Saka taking it. So it's just a theory, but that might be the reason why.
It's more than a theory. It's absolutely spot on. The Fulham game was the same. We won a penalty. Vieira goes down. Odegaard's holding the ball. He's just bagged one against Palace 6 days earlier. He's looking like he's going to take it. Over comes Saka and buries it. And I personally love it because why should one person be solely responsible? Because you say, well, you should give it to your best taker. How do you know who your best taker is? Unless you put them down and you say, here, hit 1,000 penalties each, and let's see who gets the most. Then you might gain some sort of idea for who's slightly more.
I reckon they do that in training. They must do that in training. They must have.
I just think the margins will be. These are professional footballers are all immense at striking a dead ball, and the margins will be so small between Odegaard, Saka, Havertz, Jesus, whoever. And I honestly think they'll just be mixing it up because of everything you just said, which is, if you're the goalkeeper, we face Man City, Edison, he's got to do his penalty prep. He's not just reading everything for Bukayo Saka and then maybe a second. He's probably reading for 3-4 players now because, and that only confuses things. I've got no problem with it. I think it's quite clever.
And also, if you're not having a great day, it can always go against you, can't it? Like, you know what I mean? If things are not quite there, like,
they can turn it the other way.
Someone's having a blinding game.
On Kai Havertz anyway, who buried the penalty. Interesting on people's thoughts on his performance, because I keep saying that if he were a different player, I think we'd reflect differently on his performances. What I mean by that is he is getting stuck in defensively. He is working hard. Whatever he is doing that I'm struggling to see, like, I don't think it's obvious. I think it's directly in my face. I am seeing Arsenal look far more difficult to break down. And we can say what we want, but Kai Havertz is in the very middle of the team that is looking quite hard to score against and create chances against and break down. And okay, it was Vieira in the North London derby, and there's been Vieira at Everton. So you put it down to structural, and I think Declan Rice is a big part. The centre backs being back together, Saliba and Gabriel, a big part of it. But he's winning headers, he's winning duels. Iraola, I got atted on Twitter. I think you did too, Jordan. About basically a fan of the podcast was saying, you should hear what the Bournemouth manager said about Arsenal defensively, and he listed our three midfielders and Havertz being one of them, saying they just win so many duels, like they just dominate physically in midfield. That's why they're so hard to play against. And it sets a really good foundation, and we might not be as pretty, but if you're winning your battles in midfield and you're just basically allowing them nothing, with every second ball is yours, hell, every first ball is yours, whatever, and then you sort of gain territory, it's very difficult for any team to do anything.
I think there's something in that, and I'm not sure if that's applicable to previous Havertz games. That was definitely applicable in this game. 100% that was true in this game. I'm not sure in previous games that's been. I've not looked at the stats, but
Palace and Forest, I think, yes, because all the numbers were coming about all the duels.
Okay,
and then Fulham, United, less. And then I think Bournemouth was sort of more.
Even if it is true, I'm sorry, I need more than that from Havertz. I need more than that. Even if it's true that he's adding to the presence in midfield and the domination and the physical, even if that is all true, that's a plus. I need more than that from him. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I still need more than that from him.
I do hear that. I was we did it feels like every episode I'm plugging Tactical Insight now, but you know what? Lee's done so much damage to that brand that I have to. I was we did it straight. You built it or you killed it?
I've killed it.
Yeah, well, yeah, it could be one or the other, to be honest.
Graham's emigrated to America on it, like I mean,
he left just to get away from Lee. Don't blame him. I'm thinking the same. Well, I looked at the first 30 minutes of our 3 Premier League away games, and the opposition have completed 2 passes into our penalty area in the first 30 minutes of those games combined twice. So imagine you're going away from home, and the Bournemouth fans are up for it, the Everton fans are up for it, it's Arsenal, they're in town, let's stick it on them. And then 30 minutes of the game go by, and you go, we haven't got the ball in their area. Forget shots, forget like asking a question. We're nowhere near their goal. And I think Arsenal, away from home, for whatever reason, they do it so well away. Maybe at home there's a pressure to press and play and score goals or whatever. But away from home, there is something about our structure and our patience and our ability to retain possession and just play in the right areas that I think completely and utterly demoralizes teams. And I just think they just think, because the first 5 minutes of that game, Bournemouth were all over us. They weren't creating other chances. We were in our half. We couldn't really get out. We were feeding our way into, but we still gave them nothing, and they didn't get a single completed pass on our penalty area. I mean, that's really impressive.
I'll be honest. I sat there and watched Havertz a lot more in this game. There was I'd say about 40% of that game I just focused on him. I just thought, I'm just going to, because the game was we was going well in it, and I just focused on him. He won a lot of tackles. He breaks up a lot of play, which people don't see. There are times when I think he could inject a little bit more pace at times. He just slows things down, but he keeps the ball. He keeps retention of the ball. I felt that was his best game. And sometimes you don't see that work. You just see another side of it. All that. I get it, and I really do. That we want to see more. Okay isn't good enough no more, and that's fair. Okay is gets you in the top 6 or whatever. To be really to go at it, you've got to be there. Listen, I don't think we should be going overboard about his performance. It was a good performance from him. Like Declan Rice has played 8 games like that and of a better standard, So I think what he produced yesterday is the minimum. That's what he's got. That's where the bar starts, and that's where he's got to push on from there on. But if that was his first game for Arsenal, we'd be going, "Oh, that was a good solid start." Now he's got to carry that on again, And it'd be interesting to see if he does play on Tuesday.
Just on our away record, finally, guys, I think it's 5 games now, no goals conceded. Yeah. It's insane. It's and this is like a this season thing. Our away record last year
Yeah,
I
it was very
think we
good.
had the second best away record in the league, maybe first.
No,
It's
I think
like-
we had. I think we had the best away record
Was it the best
When?
last season.
last season?
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Away record.
Yeah, we did.
It's just so puzzling how
I feel
we're
more
so
comfortable away from home. Didn't you guys
Yeah,
watching it? I don't know what you
yeah.
want to silly.
Yeah.
I feel very, very relaxed when I'm watching games away from home. Even Brentford, like last 10, 15 minutes when they put it on us, Sergis, you was there. I didn't think that we was going to crumble.
Yeah.
I you know, Palace away, even when we went down to men, you know what I mean? We rode that out really, really well. We definitely control a game a lot better away from home.
Significantly, yeah. Because at home, I don't know, Arteta called it emotional. I think it was prior to this game or after the game. He said we're more emotional at home. We've got to fix that fast because that was one of the things that let us down last season. We don't want the same, thing letting us down this season. But on Havertz, I think he had a average game. I think more than a 5-6 out of 10. I haven't seen that from him yet because I appreciate what he does off the ball, but like Jordan said, I need to see more because essentially he was brought in to be another Odegaard as well. He, as much as his physical presence is there and he's tall and he can win duels, he was brought in to assist Odegaard in that, final third, whether that's late runs into the box or, dictating play at times too. I expect to see something like that from him on the ball. Off the ball, I've seen perks for sure. On the ball, yet to see. But like Lee said, maybe the penalty is the goal he needed to kick on now. But it's a big game to kick on to. Obviously, I'm not talking about Lonzo away. I'm talking about Man City next week. It'd be interesting to see if he starts that one. But we have got Lonzo away in between, so we'll talk about that. But I also said in my interview, and maybe this one will go more to James and Lee because you watched the full game and have different perspectives being there and on the watch along. I did still think there was a lack of fluidity. Now, in the comment section of my fan cam, a lot of people disagree with that, but I don't know. Am I mad in thinking that we was better, but we still wasn't fluid enough for me to be confident that we've turned the corner, James?
You're not mad. You're not mad at all. You're not mad at all. I tweeted out that with Eddie and Havertz, I feel our fluidity is really hampered. I wasn't happy with the 11. We're not winning 4-0. Therefore, Arteta clearly made me look stupid because he went and got that big win and that big performance, 4 goals, clean sheet. However, I agree with you. We still didn't look really fluid. Like we would score with every attack. Like we were just bamboozling them every time we got in and around their penalty area. However, and here's my flip, I'm making my peace a lot more with that. I really am, because, and this is maybe a bit of copium. This is maybe like, mental gymnastics to tell myself everything's okay and all that. But there's kind of 2 routes. I could either worry about that and go, well, we were so fluid and brilliant, and attacking last season, and we didn't win the league. So how are we possibly going to win the league if we don't get to those levels again? But then the other side of me thinks, to be any more fluid and any more attacking and any more adventurous, we have to concede something the other way. And I love the way we're defending right now. Like high up the pitch on the press, in the middle of the park winning duels, and then when we drop into a deep block, we've even had that test with 10 men against Crystal Palace who can make it physical for you, and we came through that, I thought, pretty comfortably as well. And again, you look at all the goals we're conceding, largely errors, largely mistakes. And I don't mean, someone said the other day, in almost every goal there's a mistake somewhere. I agree with that, but we're talking very clear errors where someone has done something that 9 times out of 10 they wouldn't do, and it has led to a goal. And that's kind of been team's best route to goal. It's Nottingham Forest. When will we score? Actually, from your corner, when you actually do overcommit. It's never in play. It's never when Arsenal are in a decent shape, which is most of the game. And yeah, we've looked so good defensively that I'm coming to terms with us not being this relentless attacking outlet we were.
So do you think it's by design then? And
Yeah.
that's probably where I maybe, do I disagree? I can't say I disagree because I understand it might be from design, but then he bought Havertz, who essentially was meant to be an upgrade on Xhaka and the attacking third.
But maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't, Turkish. Maybe he bought in Havertz he keeps talking about physicality, and we're just chatting about the dual element, the dual winning element that he brings. Maybe we've got it wrong. Maybe he brought Kai Havertz in to stiffen up that midfield to concede less goals.
But then in the post game presser that Arteta was in, he said something like that goal is what he needed or something like that, which essentially means what we've seen from Havertz. He basically by dropping him in after game week 4, I think it was, and saying that goal is what he needs. That must mean Arteta's not seeing what he wanted to see from Havertz. Otherwise, he would have been praising more so than saying that's what he needed to turn it around.
Well, I think it's a mentality shift more than it is a. Okay, how do I explain this? So, I think the players were going out there last season. Let's blow them away in the first 20 minutes. Let's scintillating stuff, all action. Give it to Saka, give it to Martinelli, run at them. I think this season there's been a mentality shift of the goals are going to come. Just my word, protect your goal first, and your goals will come. Trust me. Like, I think that is more, be patient. You don't have to win the game in the first 10, 15 minutes. And I say that because if you look at the stats of the Bournemouth game, that first 15, 20 minutes, we did close to nothing, but we were 1-0 up because we've got that magic to make something. Now, that might flip. We might have a game where a sterner defense doesn't allow us to just have that one, but maybe you tweak something tactically and it happens. I think there's a mentality shift. I see this team fight tooth and nail to defend. They used to be like pouring forwards to get in amongst the goals. I see them pouring back. Do you remember the watch long? There's a moment at 3-4 up Turkish where it looked like Bournemouth had a break, but you just saw this stream of Arsenal players getting back. I mean, it was incredible. And we've seen elements of that across this season. I think they're really, really determined to just stop getting beaten because if you have an off day like Fulham, like Tottenham, at least you come away with a point. At least you've increased your points tally. And I actually think across 38 games, that might translate.
I see where you're coming from there, but I think we, even last season, there was games like Leeds away when we didn't look fluently and we just defended a little bit and got the result. Fulham at home, I remember, we had to rely on set piece to get us there, like when we targeted the near post all the time. It wasn't always as fluid as what people make it out. But we were talking about that yesterday, funny enough. We went to Bournemouth last year. It was a fantastic performance, wasn't it? We've done that again at Bournemouth this time. But there are games where you have to dig in and get results. And I remember going to Leeds and we didn't really play well that day. The fluency weren't there. Jesus was up front that day, by the way, and it just didn't quite happen. It was a mistake by a Leeds player that let in Saka and he finished really, really well. And I think there had been games like that. I do think there is a little bit more emphasis on the defend because I think that we've needed to do that. But if you have a look at last season, Newcastle away, great defensive performance. Tottenham away, great defensive performance. They're in there. They're in there last season. But I looked at that game yesterday and I felt we was in control from when they're having that bit of possession, sort of like feeling each other out like boxers. But eventually that the superior opponent's going to take over. So I felt that was a really poignant thing. I honestly don't think that when you've got Eddie up front, you are going to lose that little bit of fluidity because there was some really good things that he done yesterday, but sometimes it does bounce off of him a few times. You know what I mean? So I do think that if you ping it into Jesus sometimes as a midfield player, that it's going to come. I think there's a little bit of reluctance maybe to go full because is he going to control it? Is he not? I don't know, but I felt yesterday we could have scored more goals if we wanted to, but chose to maybe this is another thing, reserve a little bit of our powers because we've got another big game Tuesday, so we're keeping our powers a little bit reserved. You know what I mean? I don't know if it was.
No, Lee, I think that's sorry. I know I've rambled on about this a lot, guys, on this particular topic and point, but I think that's the point. You mentioned Newcastle and Leeds. The reason I don't think those are good examples is that's Arsenal being more defensive in terms of actually dropping into a shape, backs against the wall, kind of park the bus stuff, but still trying to offer something on the counter or whatever. When I'm saying a more conscious effort towards defending, I don't mean Arsenal dropping into shapes more. I mean, I think they're safer with their passing. I think
be more aware.
Yeah, I think everything is like, don't give that ball away if you don't need to. Like, I think it's more, you know what, Zinchenko, you don't have to invert quite as much in this moment. Or Havertz, you don't have to bomb forward beyond the striker. Or the wingers, you don't have to run at the fullbacks every single time. I think there's a bigger focus on almost like more control of certain attacking movements and moments that mean that Arsenal are largely not giving the ball away, because the more you give a ball away from, attempting more risky stuff, the more you've then got to turn around and do the defensive stuff.
I understand what you two are saying. I'm yet to agree, because again, if I think of Declan Rice as well as a purchase, essentially it's pretty much a given that he's coming to replace Partey, whether it's this season or whether it's in the long run. Partey is a controller type of midfielder. Declan Rice is more of a destroyer. So if you couple up what Declan Rice is with what Havertz is, I don't know if the whole idea was to get more control. And you know what? You lot might be right, and I might agree in a couple of weeks. I'm just more reserved about it, because it'd be a very bold move to go in this direction with such a young side, if that makes sense. A young side to control, and I think I think Tottenham and Fulham, there were definitely concerns in those ones, particularly in terms of control.
It's not that young though, Turkish. Again, when you really deep it, the side's not that young.
They're young in age. They are young in age in comparison to great clubs. If we're talking about competing with City, and if we're talking about competing in the Champions League, then we're looking at teams that have got experienced players, not only by age, but by level of competition they've been in for years. We've got a very young team and a very raw team. So to go into this move is to be a controller, when it's not like we've spent, 400, 500 mil on some experienced players coming in to guide this young team. It would be a big risk. Listen, Arteta's proven me wrong many times over the last 2 years, 4 years. So I'm hoping this is another one. And James and Lee are right. This was by design.
Yeah. I mean, I just mean in terms of age, I think the average age, I'd love to know what it is, but I just think Zinchenko, Jesus, Jorginho, Partey, there's one more person. Even Declan Rice, he's 26, 27?
24.
24.
He's younger than that. Okay, so scrap him then. It's not like the team of
Don't even know the age of players now.
Shut up.
So I've got it here. But Burnley, the youngest is 23.6. That's the youngest 11 that's gone out. The second club to that is Arsenal with 24.3.
I'll take it back.
Chelsea 24.6. Tottenham 24.7. But yeah, interesting. That's the starting 11s.
And a lot of because a lot of the names you mentioned in terms of experience, then none of them are in the starting 11, apart from Zinchenko. Jorginho's not.
Well, if Partey's fit, he would be.
I don't know, because Partey started the season right back. I don't know what was going on.
Only because Timber was injured.
Okay, Timber was injured, but we don't know that if Timber was fit, Partey wouldn't be on the bench to back up Rice, because Havertz is the 8 and Rice is the 6.
Well, we don't. But your overall point, I guess, I stand corrected. I guess you're correct in that you're up against Manchester City, where they've got that mix of quality and been there, done it. They've got warriors in there. They've got guys that have been to finals. They've got guys that have lost finals. I take your point.
But listen, I think Lee mentioned it. We've got a big game Tuesday, but before that big game, I want to go back to the whole perfect weekend talk, or nearly a perfect weekend if you wanted that Tottenham win or a draw. A Liverpool win or a draw. But Manchester City lost. Second game of the week, obviously having gotten knocked out the Carabao Cup by Newcastle. They lost at Wolves, and Liverpool lost at Tottenham. With very controversial, sir. And listen, I think last season when we mentioned some refereeing, errors around Arsenal, the debate was, is it Arsenal based? Is it
gender Arsenal? All the referees say Arsenal. Yeah, man.
So here we are, another one, and a statement pretty much 10 minutes after the game finished.
Although that feeds into the agenda thing a little bit, because I'm not sure we've had many statements, but anyway.
But I'll tell you what I do like, and I've got a lot of admiration for Liverpool with the statement they've come out and said they're not accepting that apology. They've come out with a real strong statement today. you know, looking to explore ways they ain't going to get anything from it. But I think that they're right. It's an apps. We had it, didn't we, with our game? You know what I mean? You cannot get that wrong, guys. I'm sorry. Why have they got that wrong? Forgot to do the lines again. This VAR now is becoming a joke. And I'm going to say it again. Why are VAR getting involved with penalty sending offs and all that? Because they're not factual. That's an opinion. One referee could say that's a sending off. Another referee could say that it's not. Showing stills of when the actual contact of it is, that ain't showing what a foul and what's not. You know what I mean? And as for the getting that wrong again, come on, you cannot be doing this. This game is getting ruined by it now. Like that game yesterday, I see bits of it at the beginning and all that. Like fascinating game, you know, totally ruined. Totally ruined. And I'll tell you what, do you know what scares me more than anything is when they scored that goal, when Diaz scored that goal, I looked at it and I went, well, he looks onside there, but it can't be because, you know, it's fact. He's offside. It's fact. And now you're finding out that it's not. Scandalous.
When they never show the lines. That made me
scandalous, James. You know, you can laugh about it because it's not us or whatever, or when we've been on the wrong end of it. But it's not, you know.
No, I tell you who I laugh at, Lee. I tell you who I laugh at. Everyone who told us to stop moaning. Oh, well, it happens. Oh,
yeah.
I think...
No. Hang on, James. People were saying stop moaning about it being agenda against Arsenal. That's
well,
what
Liverpool fans are saying the same about them. They're saying it's agenda.
This is why I thought the whole agenda talk from our fan base was nonsense.
Well,
it's not about against anti-Arsenal. It's just they're just shit.
No, they are. They're really, really bad. The Liverpool statement that came out, I don't really know how I feel about it because it's good to see clubs stand up for themselves and say, hold on, basically this isn't all right. But I've also got here just a little paragraph or a little quote from the Mirror back on the 9th of June this year. Premier League clubs have voted in favour of changes to next season's VAR system, but do not want to see the popular offside technology from the World Cup introduced. Now, basically, the automated offside that we saw in the Champions League or whatever. So Premier League clubs voted against that. Now, that might mean Liverpool didn't. Maybe they voted for it and they were outvoted. I don't know. But my point is, the standard of officiating is also somewhat supported by clubs who at the beginning of the season sign on to a load of rules and go, yeah, we're happy with that rule. Because as far as I'm aware, and you guys might know better than me, I think they're told these are the rule changes coming into place and they have to somewhat agree on them, I think. So I don't sympathize with everything. You know, I think clubs have played their part in some things, but largely it's not clubs' fault at all that the standard of officiating is an absolute disgrace.
I agree with you, James, but you cannot keep saying, I'm sorry, and we're standing down this official and that official. There's somewhere along the line, enough is enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was only, how long ago was it? It's not even a year ago that we're sorry, we're getting rid of Lee Mason because he's forgot to do the lines. Somebody else has done it again, James. You know what I mean?
He's back on advisory duties, apparently.
You know what I mean? Like, and not only that, there's another one in there and he hasn't done it. You know what I mean? Like, and then in the Everton game, they're taking 5 minutes to see if it's offside or it's onside and all that. Like, and they're making an excuse. Oh, we needed to rush it on a little bit. It's just not acceptable to make mistakes like that at this game. You know what I mean? Like, especially when they're fact, when it's supposed to be fact.
But you know.
No, go on, Turkish. Sorry.
But you know what the worst thing is, because more often than not, when I discuss this thing, I just think to myself, you know what, scrap VAR, because at the end of the day, I can understand human error more than I can understand what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I'm with that.
But Lee,
sits better, doesn't it?
I still wouldn't be happy with these. I don't even know the word to call them anymore. But these men that are refereeing these games,
they're getting it wrong. They're getting it wrong all the time.
I'm essentially saying, you know, take the assistants away and just let them make the mistakes there. So how do we fix this? How does it get sorted? Because just taking away...
Let's be really honest about it. If that was a normal game without VAR, the goal's disallowed because the linesman called it, right? Okay. And that's been going on for 30 odd years. Like the
Yeah.
reason that was brought in was because of decisions like that being given as mistakes. I remember, Thierry Henry scored in the FA Cup final. Remember the handball, like, on the line, what I mean? Not given, not seen, and all that. Like, if VAR was there, it would be seen. Listen, Arsenal Newcastle last season, if VAR weren't there, would have been 1-0 down to an handball. It was never an handball. You know what I mean? Like, there's times when it's good and it's in there now, but when you've got it, use it properly. I'm not being horrible. I'll say it now. The player gets booked yesterday. Well, it's never a booking. We're not allowed to get involved with bookings. You get involved with everything else, but you're not allowed to get involved with a booking, which is not a booking, which gets somebody sent off 5 minutes down the line. You know what I mean? You can't keep having one rule for one for that. You're getting involved on one thing and then not on another. You know what I mean?
But Lee, this goes to Turkish's point, though. I was never an advocate for VAR, never wanted it. VAR is a symptom of, I've said it before and I'll say it again, it's a symptom of a lack of maturity from fans, players, and the media. Decisions have been made wrong and incorrect since the dawn of time. But because everybody didn't want to accept that referees and officials make mistakes, VAR was seen as the solution. All right, cool. We're not happy because you keep getting decisions wrong. Let's get technology because that would increase the chances of getting things right. Now we've got technology and people are realizing it's the same idiots that were officiating before are just now behind a screen. So for me, this is why I never wanted it. I never wanted it, one, because it takes the joy away from football and that sort of thing. But if we as football fans in particular just accepted that referees sometimes will get things wrong and it might go against your team. It might be you in a cup final and a referee makes a mistake that means you lose the final. That may happen because they're human beings. If we just accepted that, we wouldn't be here. But because we couldn't accept that, we now wanted VAR, and now look where we are, where things are even worse. So for me, this is partly on the fan base and on the media.
Sorry, I disagree
with that. I can't disagree.
No, I do disagree because VAR is still largely getting more decisions right than wrong. The problem is that the really bad decisions are highlighted more because you had VAR. This is ridiculous. How on earth did you not get it? So all it's doing is highlighting how incompetent they are. But I'm trying to think of a goal that you mentioned, the Kivior moment, right? How frustrated would we be? This is the Newcastle one, the handball, I think, that eventually they overturn it because VAR intervenes. Yeah, that did us a solid, but it came to the right solution. So it's having its moments where it's having the right impact on games. The problem is these people have never played the game. So we can talk on VAR and the offside and all that. I mean, that was just like such a ridiculous error from, we said check complete because we thought you gave the goal. No, it's just like, it's like something out of Fawlty Towers. It's just like a comedy sketch, right? But then you get things like the Curtis Jones red card, where I'm sorry, but you just must have a bunch of people in a room who've never actually played football.
It's a red.
You think it's a red?
I don't think it's a red.
It's a red card. People keep saying to me, those that played the game understand that when you try to control the ball, your foot rolls over it, and that can happen. I accept that. People say it wasn't intentional. Maybe it wasn't. But the fact is, he almost broke the guy's leg. And if he broke the guy's leg, nobody will be saying, oh, yeah, but that happens when you roll the ball. It's a red card.
Well, why didn't you send Eddie off the week before then?
Pardon?
Why didn't VAR send Eddie off the week before then?
That doesn't mean that this isn't a red card.
No, that was bad. No, the Eddie one's a red because they're
both reds.
No, but I think Eddie's was more of a red because his intent. If you ever look at that,
way more of a red.
He goes in with his toe on the lower part of the ball. The momentum of the ball takes the ball over. It's not him going over.
I agree, Lee. I totally agree with you. But the fact remains, he could have broken somebody's leg. So we can't say because the intention wasn't to break his leg.
No, but I'm not talking about intention. I'm talking about the fact he actually got his foot on the ball.
But he almost could have. But he could have. He could have almost broken his leg as well.
Jordan, yeah, but if I strike a ball as hard as I can and someone runs in the way of it, I can also break their leg. The point is, I was having a shot. Like, so what? Every action that could break a leg. It's a physical game. It's football. Legs and boots are stuck into things. And in this situation, Kirsten, if it's a mistimed challenge and he's caught him late, I'm all for it. But it's not a mistimed challenge. He's actually got to the ball. The problem is the ball's slippery. He's got the top of it. He's trying to actually take control of it. He slipped over and then he's caught him. And I just think that is so harsh. Like, it does look nasty, but nasty things happen in football. It's unlucky sometimes.
But it's also, James. It's also go on.
Don't you prefer football from 30 years ago though, or 25 years ago? Let's say.
In what sense?
Like I always say it, and people call me a dinosaur now, but I much prefer football when it was mid 90s to mid 2000s. There was a bit more behind it, and part of why football changed so much is because things like this mean that players don't even want to go into a challenge because they might get.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So Turk, okay. So the reason why I disagree with that is because if the current football now makes footballers think, I might have to think twice about going for that ball or controlling the ball. If football now makes you think like that and it saves a leg break, I'm for it.
Let me ask you: did Declan Rice deserve a red? Did Declan Rice deserve a red card against PSV the other night? Because he caught Luke De Jong on the follow through. He passed the ball, and then he caught him right high on the ankle. Luke De Jong rolls. He goes over. Is that a red card?
No. I don't remember it. I vaguely remember it. I don't remember it enough to say.
Fair enough. But my point is, he's caught him really badly.
I get your point, but it's also possible to win the ball and foul the man. Just because he won the ball, just because he got to the ball first, that doesn't mean it's not a foul.
That is true.
It shouldn't be a foul if you won the ball.
No, because you can win the ball and still.
Old school.
Put someone into.
But Jordan's touched on something
Chopper Harris over here. You know what I mean?
No, Jordan, you touched on something interesting there. You know, like Xhaka got a red at Man City. He won the ball cleanly, but he went in 2-footed and he dived, and it was deemed reckless and dangerous and all that. So you are on something there. I also think there doesn't always have to be contact for there to be a foul. People might think I'm crazy, but if you win the ball and you have to hurdle over a massive challenge, I
agree.
For me, that's a foul as well, even though there wasn't contact. But what I'm saying is, this is where the nuance and the understanding from referees who listen. It's an easy thing to say. Referees have never played the game. They probably have, all on a 11 aside on a Sunday morning, whatever they have in somewhere. But what I'm saying is, I think there needs to be. Here's the first thing he got wrong. He sent over to the monitor, and what's the first thing he sees? A still.
Exactly that, James. Exactly.
Boot planted in the leg. Show him at full speed the moment, and then you can go.
So do we know?
He was right by it and give a yellow card.
So do we know if he then saw the actual full action after the still? Because he would have.
Yeah, but they showed.
We don't know. We don't know, but.
That's straight in your head, then, isn't it?
Yeah, they're planting.
The first thing they showed was the impact. It's wrong, Jordan. You got to show it in real speed. I don't agree with all this slowing it up and all that. When you're in a game, you don't. It's not the slow motion. It's the way it is. Like, you know what I mean? And the other thing is about that. What I go on about is like, there we have. You've got James, who's a referee. You're a referee. One of you thinks it's a sending off. The other doesn't. And this is the problem you've got with VAR. It's not facts. It's an opinion.
I just think if Basuma is Bukayo Saka, we're calling for a red card. We are.
I'm not on that one.
Here's a better one. Here's a better one. Saka on Bruno Fernandes. What about that? United fans were calling for a red. Do you remember that? Saka goes over the ball, comes over.
I remember that one.
And he was pulled down by Dallo.
If he was sent off for that, I wouldn't complain.
No.
Honestly, I wouldn't complain.
Way is that sending off?
I wouldn't complain.
Yesterday, in my opinion.
I do not believe you. Sorry.
Honestly,
I'm being consistent with that one as I am with the Jones one. Neither are reds for me.
And listen, I'm saying that Eddie should have been. When I see that tackle,
that's definitely.
I looked at that and I said, "Whoa, how has he not got sent off? That's not being Arsenal bias or whatever. That was very, very fortunate. I think it was a red card. That's more of a red card than that one yesterday.
And this is what I mean about officials not understanding the game, because they should look at that and go, Eddie has lunged in, scissored him, like both legs around the ankle,
No control.
and they should be no control, and they should be looking at it and going, that is just a really reckless challenge.
Reckless. Yeah.
But anyway, we yeah.
I think just kind of circle back, just in terms of officials. I think we all agree that the level of officiating is in the toilet. But for me, the reason why I just don't get involved and get emotional about bad decisions anymore is because, one, I don't think we know what the rules are anymore. We often give our opinion as opposed to what the rules say. But more concerning is this: I don't think they know the rules anymore. I don't think the referees know what the rules are anymore. So we're all just guessing and we're all just arguing, we're all up in arms, but no one actually knows what the rules are. So how can you have a game of football if no one in the stadium really knows what the rules are?
They don't know what decision their colleagues made on the pitch.
Yes, I don't get involved.
Did you give it offside or on?
Whose choice was it
Complete. Carry on.
Whose choice was it to do to make it like this though? They played a part in that. They wanted their assistants, and then the assistants come with drawing lines that involve millimeter decisions, and then they decide to change some rules because that whole, who was it? Eddie Nketiah offside, Martinelli goal. I find that this season it wasn't a deliberate action. So when it went to Nketiah, it meant it's offside. But did Gabriel mean for it to go to Eddie Nketiah? No, that wasn't a deliberate action either. So even the rules themselves,
But I say again, I genuinely believe we've got to that point, Turkish, because we as fans, we as the media, football managers, football players have moaned and complained about everything for so long. The pressure then is on referees to scrutinize every little blade of grass, every little line. So I think we've played a role. I think we've played a role in where we are today. The officiating is awful. It's awful. It's on the floor. But I think we've got to this point generally because of our inability to accept they may get some things wrong and it may go against your club.
I agree with that, but it cannot continue. This what's happened yesterday. And it cannot continue. This cannot continue to next week. Another apology, and in another week's time saying else. It cannot.
The offside was criminal. The offside goal was criminal. I'm with you on that. The red card, I disagree with you. The goal was criminal. The
red card is debatable. The red card's not a scandalous decision. I think they've got it wrong, and I don't think they understand the game. But I agree, the red card's not a scandal.
You cannot be getting that wrong, James.
But the offside's a shot.
Yeah, you can't get it wrong.
I'm not going to go into my whole pitch, but I've long said a challenge system fixes all these fixes so many problems, and everyone goes, "Load of rubbish. It's not tennis, mate." And I'm so convinced that so many of these issues don't happen if clubs are allowed to challenge decisions rather than VAR checking everything. Let clubs challenge the decisions they want, and then
when
they
got it wrong, James. Why couldn't they go back, even if it's 2 minutes, 3 minutes onto the game? Is you know what I mean? Sorry, we're going back. It's a goal. They're all in at half time. Apparently, Klopp's turned around and said, "We know it was a mistake," and they're all letting it go. Why don't they just stop it? Just go. It's ridiculous. I think
the thing with the challenge thing, James. I'm with you, but the fear is that it would be used for tactical purposes.
No, and my answer to that has always been that when clubs challenge, the club captain should approach the referee, or club captain or manager approach the referee or the fourth official, and they explain to them exactly what they're challenging and what for. So you can't just go penalty. It's penalty, foul, number 5 on our number 8. Like
in America, they're doing American football.
Just pure because then you can't use it tactically, because then you're in a situation where you can't make up a scenario. There's got to be this has happened. This is what we're challenging. So in that situation, Liverpool purely go, we want to challenge the offside call. We've looked at it again. Bam. And then you keep your challenge if you're right, and you lose one if you don't.
And if the game's I know we've got to move on, but what if the ball's still in play, the other team scores at the other end?
Then they challenge and they can continue. Well, I don't know. You'd have to iron out. Maybe
sorry, I'm putting them on the pressure.
No. These are very fair rebuttals, and probably the comment section would say similar things. But I would think plays going on. The manager puts in the challenge to the fourth official. As that's happening, maybe something happens. The other team score. If it turns out that decision was wrong, goal disallowed. You go back to the moment they got wrong. That's what happens wasn't it a Man City Tottenham game very recently where they played on for like 2 minutes before VAR when actually it's a penalty, and they went all the way back and had to play from that moment. So it's not unheard of that they've kind of play on while VAR's checking things.
But then it is still the same
They
people,
do it in rugby.
even if there is a.
It is still the same idiots. You're right, but
It's a mad
tear
side.
down the PGMOL, man. Honestly, I actually mean it. Genuinely, strip it down.
Scrap it.
Scrap
Man.
it.
We do have to move on. Hope everyone appreciates why we did discuss.
Yeah,
the-
Lee, bloody hell, man. Just wanging on for the last 25
You was
minutes.
the one that continued about. I know we got to move on, but what if you do this?
I'm gonna go to bed.
The ball doesn't go out over the line. But listen, let's move on. Lon's away. Let me bring up the prediction table. But before we do make predictions, I mean, what kind of lineup do we want to see? I assume Saka's out of it. By the
Nope.
way, come the end of the game, you don't.
Nope.
You think
I want to wrap up this group as soon as possible. Play your strongest team. Let's get the 3 points.
He came off injured, bro. This is what I'm saying. He came off injured against Bournemouth.
Was it injured or was it precautionary?
Nah, he was injured.
It was injured. Oh, okay.
Enough
Sorry.
was enough for him.
It was only a knock, though. It was a
I
knock.
thought it was a
you know what I mean?
precautionary taking
I
off.
don't know about that. I don't know. He did look in some James. I don't know what you think, but he did look.
He looked in real pain, but he did after Tottenham. I mean, quite frankly, the guy could have nothing but an arm, and Arteta would be like, "Listen, do us a solid,"
With this one, it's a unique situation. We only got Sunday, Monday, and then it's another match. He hasn't got 3 days or 4 days in between. This is
if he's injured, then no. But I thought he came off as a precaution. If it's a precautionary substitution, I'm playing him. I'll
say we should beat Lons without Saka.
I'm resting him for this game, guys.
We should beat Lons without Saka.
I'm resting him.
Yeah, I agree. Well, James, would you be playing him?
Nope. No, but I'm more forgiving of it than Bournemouth. We had a good nice debate about it for the Bournemouth game, and I was just like, please don't. We really should have enough. Champions League, I understand that there's a shorter window. You get this wrong, and suddenly there's more pressure on the 2 Sevilla games, and you got a trip to PSV. So I understand a lot more. Like if Arteta feels he can play and plays him, I'm all right with it. But I'd rather, guys. Come on,
we win this game
where we have to play Bukayo Saka all the time. I mean, we cannot operate like that as a club. And we will not win the league if we operate like that as a club, because we saw it last season, even without a Champions League run and getting knocked out of all the cup competitions early. Saka looked exhausted at the end. He was poor the last month or two.
We're the best team in this group for me by a small distance. We can win this game in the first 4 matches, and then you rest Saka for the last 2.
Listen, we should beat Lons away without. If we're the strongest
team,
team,
we should.
I think we should rest him.
Yeah, I agree. But if we nail this one, Penarth put us in a good position.
Actually, I've changed my mind. Yes, I do play him because of the getting it done. Because you've still got Sevilla home, Sevilla away, PSV away, so 3 tricky ones. But also it's a Tuesday game, and we play Man City on the Sunday. So really, this isn't Wednesday, Saturday. Where that's 2 days lost. So he should be. That's if he's fit to play. But that can only be answered by him and the medical team. Like if he came off and it's like, listen, he can't play, he's injured, then fine. But what annoys me is Mikel Arteta saying, "Oh, he hasn't trained all week. We'll see. He's not been involved in training. Starts against Bournemouth. We're 3-0 up. Isn't one of the first to come off.
No, that was a poor decision by him.
When he's been kicked
that
again.
was weird. That was weird.
Poor.
Yeah,
Poor
that was.
And then people go, you don't have Arteta's information. Well, I do. I also know when we were 3-0 up in the game. And I also think he could have played less football. So I have all the information I need. The game was won by 55 minutes. Get him off the pitch. I don't need a doctor who's had 8 years of training, at some fancy school to tell me, 3-0, is the game won at 3-0? Yes, it's won. Get him off the pitch. What?
I agree.
And there's a dual benefit as well. One, you get him off to get him rested, but you also you can give some other fringe players some minutes.
Well, he brought on Nelson and Tomiyasu, and when I was sitting there and going, well, that's Saka and Shinchenko off. As simple as that. Couldn't believe it when he didn't do it. Couldn't believe it.
That was poor.
Poor. But anyway, we can't have a go at Mikel.
No, but it's the only thing he got wrong. It was otherwise a perfect day. I'll give him that.
He's an arsehole. He's such an arsehole.
He's not wrong. I mean, the brigade will be out in full force, mate. The little thing you might say. But I think we agree that regardless of a rotated squad or not, we should be beating Lons away. I mean, I spoke to Simon, a Lons fan. That box to box will come out later today, people. and they've lost their top goal scorer from last season. They've lost their Seko Fofana. He went to Saudi Arabia, so and they haven't started this. I say they haven't started the season well. They lost they lost 4 out of their first 5. But since drawing with Sevilla, they've won their last 2, and their new striker actually scored his first goal of the season last game. So they might be up for it, but we should get the job done. Predictions, because I see Lee yawning and it's past midnight.
No, I've done some out with me, like, I've had a heavy weekend.
Yeah.
Were you up early watching the Ryder Cup?
All that corporate.
No, do you know what? Disappointed. I haven't really been out and watched much of Ryder Cup because I've been like away for the weekend in Bournemouth. But yeah, I was a little bit disappointed. But I had a late night Saturday, and
I bet you did.
I got up 8 o'clock in the morning thinking that it was a podcast.
No way. You're lying.
No, I didn't. I just wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning thinking of Turkish these days. Like, is he going to be there?
Listen, don't think about me at 8 in the morning.
Just by the way, just to let everybody know, these 3 here, like, I've got new nicknames from all, like, but then they were going, we've only got a minute before we get done. Like, we've got a minute. They're trying to get me done. And unbelievable, like Turkish and his little crew, I'm calling them now. Like,
Have you paid me last year? Have you paid me yet for last year?
No, as you well know, Shameless, you are having to wait until 10 shows properly.
10 shows. Guys, stick your 10 shows where the sun don't shine, mate. 5 shows. And this is the 4th, if I'm not mistaken. I think I'll be correct in saying this is the 4th. So Thursday, lads, get the banking apps ready and then send me the money I deserve for last season. But listen,
I should have said 5 8 a.m.s in a row, but
I
never did.
Yeah.
I played myself there. I
just want to say that I went to the game against Brentford and some fella came up to me and give him a week. I loved it. Like, give him a week. You know what I mean? I said, you know. Like, they really deep down, they know like that you
the
are
next
going to
podcast is 8 a.m. on Wednesday. That's the next recording time, 8 a.m. Wednesday. So
is it now?
I'll be there.
No, I won't be.
No?
You can't do that to me.
Why?
Well, I'm in France.
Well, sort it out then, isn't it?
We're getting back to about 5 o'clock in the morning. So can we make it at 6 o'clock in the morning when I ain't got to go to sleep?
Nah, it's 8 o'clock, mate. You got to
stay up. I'm no sleep and you got to make me wake up, like, you know what I mean? I'll do it. Even if I've got 1.5 hours sleep, I will do it. Don't worry.
All right. Famous last words. People, there's been 10 games played, 10 predictions made. I'm still top 8 points after a 3-point deduction. Jordan's in second with 8 points. James is in third with 7, but he's tied with Lee, who also has 7 with 0 correct scores so far. Lon's away. Champions League. I'm up again. And it's 3-1.
Oh, might as well call you Shameless 3-1.
3-1. Jordan.
I've got a feeling it might be a draw.
3-0. 3-0. Sorry, I changed my mind.
Ooh.
3-0.
Confident. I'm going to go 1-0. I'm going to go 1-0.
Thank you. You're going to give me the lead. James.
2-0 to us.
Mr. Lee Judges, take the famous 3-1.
Do I go 2-1?
2-1. Cool. So we've all gone something different. 3 of us have gone for an Arsenal win. I've gone 3-0. Lee's gone 2-1. James has gone 2-0. And Jordan has gone for 1-1.
Who was the closest for Bournemouth?
Well, it was 4-0.
I think I went 2-0.
I went 1-0.
You
both went 2-0, didn't you?
I went 2-1.
2-1.
Wow. I predicted 3-1. I can't remember what everyone else.
Well, me and Jordan should get something for a clean sheet then.
We should really.
I'm still trying.
Got half of it, right? Half a point. Let's shake on it, Jordan. Let's shake on it. Half a point each.
I'm up for it. There you go.
And last but not least, people, comments of the day. Everyone ready?
Yep.
Let's do this.
Oh, nice.
Were they crap this week, Jordan?
They're all right. That was okay. I'll kick off because I found the best of the bunch. And it resonated with me because I like this guy as well. It's from Ahmed Noor. Apologies if I got your name wrong there. He says, I have a crazy theory that Tomiyasu is the best defender at the club. He always impresses, apart from a few times, which all players have as well. We are lucky to have him. And the reason why I wanted to flag that one is I don't think he's the best defender at the club. So I think that's a slight stretch. But I do like how consistent Tomiyasu is. And I was thinking the other day, apart from Man City last season at home, I can't think of any kind of howlers he's had since he's been at Arsenal. There's been a couple of games where he's not been to his best, but he's generally a consistent 7 out of 10. And there's another comment later on that talks about him maybe playing against City because of his defensive abilities, aerial threat. Again, I don't know if I'd put him in the starting 11, but I too, I'm a big fan of Tomiyasu, and I think he's one of the perfect squad players. I think he's one of the perfect squad players that when he comes in, he'll do a job. But he's maybe
Yeah. If I see Tommy starting, I don't bat an eyelid. I don't mind.
You're not scared. You're not worried, are you?
No,
I don't really. Yeah.
I like him. So that comment resonated with me. So that was my comment of the week. Also, can I just big up a fan of the show, Rodney P, big time UK hip hop artist. As he watches the show, he's a big Arsenal fan and he enjoys the show. So I want to give him a shout out, Rodney P.
Come on. Let me go next. I got one from Sevo. And it says Lee and James bickering about getting a point, and then Turkish commenting that this is an argument between granddad and grandson. I'm dying. This is the best Arsenal show ever. Love from the Arctic. Lee, you're laughing. You read that one yourself, yeah?
I had that one, but I've got myself a backup just in case. So, so I did see that one. I thought it was very good.
Yeah, come on. Who's up next? Grandson or granddad?
Jeez.
I'll go then. Like, you know.
Yeah, granddad.
Elders first.
It's football, not soccer. Lee putting in overtime hours for that Christmas dinner invite from the Ramsdale. I'm rooting for you, Lord Voldemort. Like, you know what I mean? There you go. Why not that one?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Mine was from High Tech J, who says, I'm just here to see Lee praise Arteta's tactical genius because the fine margins went totally in our favour this week. And I like it because it's very true of Arsenal, isn't it? Like the fine margins have been swaying kind of the way a game is viewed. Like take Fulham, for example, a lot of frustration after that game. You defend that one corner better than you did.
Yeah.
And that's a great turnaround. Tottenham, Jorginho doesn't make that mistake. As Sonny was saying, with all these injuries, we still found a way to beat Tottenham. I know there's more to that because you look at performance and what you deserve and all that. But it's just, if you don't win that game at Palace away, is it a great away performance or is it? It's
a great point.
Actually you didn't create enough chances, and I'm just. It's food for thought, is all. I thought it was just a comment that got me thinking a lot about.
I think it's a great
margins
point
of football.
It's a great point, and you just think like the Man United game, even worse. You know what I mean? Like
Great
a millimetre, and that could have, look at the ecstasy from that game and joy we had from that. But 5 minutes before that, I'm on my knees going, this is disastrous. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's a very very good thing that really.
It's just worth keeping. I think our analysis and thoughts are always very fair to the performance and all that. I just think I was actually including you, but
be really honest. If we'd have lost to Wolves like City did, we'd be going mad. We'd be going absolutely mad. That is a great result, Not just it's a great week for Arsenal to get the Carabao Cup through comfortably, 4-0 win in the Premier League, comfortable, 2 clean sheets, where Man City have gone out of a competition that now gives us more hope of winning it. But also to lose in the Premier League, they've lost a game before us, even though they got a point more. But just the fact that they've been a little bruised this week. They rotated, as did Newcastle. They didn't have more than Newcastle's second string team either. Then they go back to full strength. They get strength against Wolves. They went out the cup for nothing because ultimately they weren't fresh enough to beat Wolves, or the freshness didn't help, and they still lost that game.
That's a big week for Arsenal.
Yeah, good week.
It was a big week, great week. But we need a greater week and a bigger week this week coming up.
Yeah,
because
bigger week now.
away, and then Man City Sunday, international break after that. We're 1 point behind them, and we won our first game in the Champions League. So we'll see if we can do bigger and better this week, people. Leave us your predictions below, comment section. Has the likes hit 1,000 yet? I haven't asked yet. Hopefully it has. If not, make sure you hit the like button, people, on the way out. Show some love to the video. Make sure you subscribe, put the notification bell on. And like I said, we'll be recording next Wednesday morning. It'll be out Wednesday at some point. So hopefully you enjoy. But make sure you show some love to this video and leave your comments for comments of the day on Wednesday. And we hope we get the win tomorrow night. And then it's the big one, Manchester City at the Emirates Sunday. People, love for the love.